We're back. It is, Friday night. Sorry, I'm getting my days confused. NFL's here. Nothing makes sense anymore. I'm just struggling to make it through. Never promise you're going to do so much because then you actually got to do it, not let everybody down. What's up, new guy? I'm the Degenerate 75. I'm a DFS content creator who is here to help you get a little bit better at college football DFS, NFL DFS, and PGA DFS if you're into that scene. But what you need to know, let me just help you out right off the start, all right? If you're here for picks and plays and guaranteed winners, well, you can fuck off now. This ain't the place for you. I am here to help you with the process. I've been doing it for a long time. I've been very successful at it, and I'm going to try to give you some lessons that help you quit stepping on your dick. If that sounds good, hang around for the next 30 to 45 minutes. Hell, maybe even win a prize. Hop in the chat. I don't give a shit. You're your own man. You do you. If you find you really like the cut of my jib, yeah, come check out that schedule right there. I do this every Friday night at 7 o'clock. I do NFL Monday and Thursday at noon for the showdown because I am kind of the showdown hoedown guy. I still do my golf show on Wednesday, but starting tomorrow, 7 o'clock, Lord's time zone as always, I am doing the touchdown hoedown, my NFL breakdown just like this show. And if you can't tell by the graphic, I'm going to be giving away 5 $100 tickets to Build a Millionaire Maker ticket with me. We will build it together. It will be our baby, and we will split the profit. So I would love to PayPal you $500,000. Okay, of course, after some tax work. All right, don't get ahead of yourself here. All right. So if you want to win that, the best thing you can do is be there tomorrow for it. 3 of the 5 live drawings are going to come just from the chat. So be there. That will dramatically increase your chances. Okay. Yes, I will be doing giveaways tonight because, as you can see, we are sponsored by Not a Poor. That's me because I'm not a poor, and I don't mind giving away tickets. And more than that, I'm giving you my time. We will build together. We will toss it in the main, which I believe is $50,000 tomorrow. So hang around for the end of that to simply get in the drawing. I'll be doing it from the chat. Just toss one question in there with a question mark. If you put 2 questions, more than 2, I'll boot your ass. You're disqualified, so I don't want to hear it, you donkey dick. All right, let's get going. Contest selection, man. You know what? I look, there's the guy over at DraftKings, the guy who kind of runs the contest, said that the contest would get better this year at college football. And the dude told me the truth. We are pretty spoiled with how good the GPP contests have been for these main slates so far, right? Just once again, we have the same main contest we had up as last week, 250,000 total prize pool, 50,000 to first. Yes, I wish second was a hair higher. I always like second to be half of first, but overall for a main contest, 10th place being 125th, that's not bad for the main, bro. They could do that stupid shit. They could make it 300,000 and give 100,000 to first, and then it's definitely unplayable, right? When you make it 20% to first, this becomes a contest. I don't want to call it sustainable, but I'll call it this, less of a kick in the dick. I'll call it that for sure. So this is great. But you know what? Ask yourself this. If you're wanting to play GPPs tomorrow, which, by the way, let me be very open. I'm mainly a cash guy. I play about 80% of my bankroll every Saturday towards cash, okay? Because I just think there's a bigger edge there. And honestly, I have a whole bunch of fun tweaking my cash lineup 700 times between Friday and Saturday morning, okay? I really get off on it. It's a weird kink. But if you're going to play some GPPs tomorrow, I encourage you to do it responsibly, right? Hitting GPPs in college football is very difficult because there's always some random slappy that goes off, right? But here's what I want to challenge you to do. Don't play a bunch of crazy guys. Last week, I did very well, right? I actually won a couple GPPs. I know you don't know that because I don't post my shit on Twitter begging for people to follow me because of it, but I did win some GPPs, and literally all I did was took my cash lineup and just went and subbed out 2 pieces, right? You don't have to get super crazy to have really good GPP lineups. If they're good enough to be in your cash lineup, they're almost certainly good enough to be in your GPP lineup. Maybe you just want to make sure you get that quarterback stack. Like for me, what I did is I just went and paired Penix with McMillan, right? And that was the big difference between my cash lineup, right? Maybe get off that, a quote-unquote safer receiver and move to a Roman Wilson who's an all-or-nothing kind of guy, right? That's all you really need to do. And outside of that, keep your cash lineup guys in there, right? If you like Juckins, if you like Braylon Allen, you keep those guys in there. You don't need to be crazy different, okay? Especially if this is a perfect transition to my second point, thank you everybody, is if you were playing in reasonably sized contests. If you play in the main, you're probably going to have to hit kind of a sicko lineup, right? You're probably going to need that one guy that goes off that nobody played. But just look at some of these contests, man. I mean, they are so good. Go sort by total prizes and go down here. The $4.20 max, right? For $80, you can max into this so nobody has more lineups than you. And it's just the perfect payout structure. 10% to first, second place is half of first, and 10th is 1/10. It's perfect. But look at this little one I found today just looking through. A $1.20 max. Look at this bad boy. You're not a big player. You want to have some fun tomorrow. You want to play some GPPs. You want to have a chance to win. $20. You can max enter this contest because it's a 20 max and they're $1 a piece. First place is only 4% of the prize pool. Second place is 60% of first, and 10th place is 1 what would that be? 1.67 a first. That is insane. That is one of the best payout structures I've ever seen. I will tell you, 30,000 people, not easy to beat, but you can really get a little slimy with some of your plays when you only have to pay $1 per lineup, right? So, and the best part is you're not putting in 20 while other people are putting in 150. These contests, no matter what level you want to play, the $100 single entry, the 153 max, which is what I won last week, there's just so many great contests. You should be so thankful that they have well-structured contests because it allows you to play good lineups, and your good lineups, if you can just get a really good lineup, will have a legit chance to win. Now, if you're playing in something with over 10,000 people, you're probably going to need something fucking great and not just really good, okay? So keep that in mind on how much risk you need to take versus what kind of contest you were in, all right? But of course, the one contest you should definitely play in is mine, the Showdown Hoedown Listener League. This thing barely filled last week. I will come to your house and kick you in the nuts if you don't get this thing filled. Only 300 spots, $5 3 max, reduced rake, flat payout structure, part of the community, everything we need. It's in the description of this video. Quit being an old and being like, I could never figure out how to reserve those contests, so I'm not going to play in them. Quit being an old grandpa and figure it the fuck out. I need this thing filled, so get in there. I appreciate every single one of you. Oh, and by the way, that contest last week, who won it? This guy right here. Did I win by a little bit? No, I won by 32 points. We call that a boat race in my business, okay? You mess with a bull, you get the horns. It was just, yeah, I'm telling you, that lineup right there was legit my cash lineup. I just subbed out 2 pieces. That was legit all I did. Tossed it in there and shipped it, right? I also won another GPP, and I think I got second in the $100. Anyways, so there you go. That's how you do it. By the way, you need to understand something, new guy. This isn't about picks. This isn't about plays. That's what everybody wants. Dude, I'm just here on a Friday night, all right? I'm at my son's high school game, and I just need some quick picks and plays to make my lineup tomorrow. Well, that's why you always fucking lose, okay? If you want to know what you really need, you need projections, and you need a process. That's what you need. And the best place to find that is right here at the solver. If you're not using an optimizer, if you're building more than like 10 lineups and you're not using an optimizer, just know you're screwed. And if you're not using somebody's projections you trust, then you're already screwed. They don't have to be mine. I would encourage you to use mine because I'm a sweaty tryhard that puts a ton of time into these. You can see right there, Degenerate75, my projections, my ownership, everything is in there. Now you go build your player pool, and this will make the best versions of that lineup. You need this to make those icky lineups, to get you that correlation that you need to build a lineup that you would never build by hand, right? The one that won last week was my optimized lineup, and then I just went and switched 2 pieces out because I switched to all ceiling projections, and that's how I got there. Thank you, Solver. And you want to know the best part? A lot of times you small guys are like, man, I can't afford that optimizer stuff. I got a wife and kids. I can't afford it. I get it. I've seen the prices on some of these things. This one, for every single sport, $39.99 a month. That will get you my college football projections, my NFL projections, my PGA projections, my Showdown PGA, my NFL PGA, my college football, Showdown, my college football Showdown, my NFL Showdown, my PGA Showdown. All of them are loaded in there. Not only are you getting my projections, you're getting the optimizer itself, $39 a month, which is about a third of the competition. Redunculous. So I encourage you to check that out. Just make sure you use that landing page right there, the Showdown Hoedown, so that you can get access to my projections. And if you want access to my projections, then why the hell are you watching this stream? Fuck off. Okay, let's get to it. This is the slate. Yes, I gave you the full Rosetta Stone last week. I got it right here. This is the pretty one, right? See the pretty one all colored up with cash plays and everything you need to know and what are the games to target? Well, this is you're being a pleb tonight and you're just watching me on YouTube, so you get the watered down version, all right? The stone is only improving. You can see that we've added some new things: snap percentage, targets per game, rush per game. Why wasn't it on there last week? Because they hadn't played any games, Dickie. So now we have that. The stone is only improving every week, but this is the milquetoast version. You want the real thing? We'll tell you how to do that in just a little bit. Let's get through this slate. I'm going to run through the slate in about 10 to 15 minutes, and then I will answer all your questions. So now would be a good time to start dropping those questions in there if you have them. Okay, let's do it. First of all, this Notre Dame NC State game, it actually has a decent total, over 50 points with only a 7.5 point total, so likely to be a competitive game, right? The first thing I think a lot of people are going to do is they're instantly going to discount Sam Hartman and Audric Estime, right? Hartman has only played 72% of the snaps for Notre Dame this year. Okay, that doesn't mean he's in a timeshare. It just means they've been blowing out their first 2 opponents, so he's been getting pulled early. We haven't got to see his full potential. When he was at Wake, he was a beast. But know this, the 2 times he's played NC State, they kind of had his number, so maybe it's a psychological game. Estime might be the most overlooked stud on this slate. If you go look here, it looks like he's only getting 15.5 touches a game, and he is only getting 15.5 touches, and he has only been on the field for 36% of their plays. But that's because he's their workhorse, and you don't keep your workhorse on the field when you're up by 42 points. So in a competitive environment, I think Estime is almost a shoo-in for 20 touches behind a very good offensive line, and I think that this is going to be a favorable game script. Estime might be the most overlooked, really great running back play on here. As far as upside, I think Thomas and Greathouse, you can see nobody is really getting a lot of targets from Notre Dame, but Thomas is on the field the most, and he is leading in targets. Running it back, I think NC State, their entire team is going to run through Brennan Armstrong. Brennan Armstrong is a guy I would never give a second of consideration to in cash, as I think he's overpriced. But in GPPs, I think he's a slate-breaking type guy. He is a dude that has maximum upside with his legs, right? He is a guy that if NC State is competitive in this game, it will almost certainly be on the back of Brennan Armstrong, so I'm warm to him. And if you're going to play a quarterback like that, I think you only need to stack him once, and I think that he basically has two logical guys to stack him with in Concepcion, the freshman, and Lassane. You can see both of them on the field the majority of the time, and they only have one game, but our freshman, Concepcion, has already got 5 targets in that first game, right? Moving on, we have James Madison versus Virginia, the battle of the founding fathers. How did I just put this together? That this is Thomas Jefferson School versus James Madison. And by the way, can we just point out that I thought the quarterback for Virginia I thought it was Musket. Maybe I'm making that up. I swear it was Musket. Maybe we need to update this. Akasaw, go get it changed to Musket. Okay, so the battle of the founding fathers, and unbelievably, James Madison is a nearly touchdown favorite over Virginia at home. Okay. This is one of those games that here's the long story. I just don't play in these games, right? These games just tend to not have great scoring environments, right? There's fewer plays run in these games. There's obviously fewer touchdowns in these games. And when you have those things, it is going to lead to less DFS scoring. I will say, if you want to come into this game and you want to grab somebody, a one-off piece is never that bad. Okay. Virginia, believe it or not, has 2 cheap receivers who both got decent amount of targets last week. So maybe they can throw the forward pass this week. They basically just have 2 guys that are on the field for most of the game. But these are the kind of games you just by and large want to avoid. It's going to be a slow, sloggy defensive game. From there, Purdue, Virginia Tech, I think might be the sneakiest game on the slate as far as a game that might shoot out. You look at that total, you don't even see 50 points. You think it's not going to be a great game, but here's what we know. We know that Purdue is going to run very fast, right? Their offensive coordinator is Graham Harrell. Hudson Card had a pretty good game last week, the Texas transfer, right? So if they can continue that pace and Virginia Tech can actually be efficient on offense for one game, I think you have a recipe for a sneaky game that could get up to like 38-35 and no one sees it coming. Furthermore, for Purdue, their usage is very concentrated. David Mockabee is definitely the leader of that backfield. Hudson Card is not in a time split. And Deion Burks, who is probably going to be a chalk donkey on this slate, is got 9 targets and never left the field in the first game. You can see he played 100% of the snaps. For Virginia Tech, look, I get it. Tootin screwed my cash lineup last Saturday night too, right? We barely eked across the finish line in spite of him, okay? But here's what I'll tell you. He had 19 rushes and 3 targets. So basically, he had a chance at 22 touches. If a guy at 5,600 is going to get 22 touches, you almost have to play him, right? That is just so many touches at that price tag. So if he can just become a hair more efficient, I think he becomes a reasonable play. At wide receiver, if you think this game shoots out, I think Lane and Jennings are the 2 wide receivers from Virginia Tech that you might want to consider as a run back. Troy and K-State. Here's the answer. Troy is a pretty decent team, right? They are a solid team. And our dude Vidal, we remember him from last year. 5,900 against any other team would be a smash play. As you can see, he got 24 rushes last week, 2 targets, and was on the field for nearly 60% of the plays, which is a very high percentage for a running back. But here's the problem. They're playing at K-State, and K-State is pretty good. They're pretty good, Bob, and they are good at stopping the run. So even though I do love Vidal, I don't know if I love him in this spot. If you need a punt receiver, Stoudemire is clearly their number 1 receiver, although the dude didn't get a single target last week, so I don't know what the hell happened there. For K-State, Will Howard, just a little overpriced for a guy that doesn't offer you a ton of upside. I think where everybody is going to want to play K-State is these 2 running backs, right? There are 2 teams that have 2 great running backs, and they both are very tricky on how to play them. The first one is K-State. Giddens and Ward. What do you do? Well, first of all, as you can see right here, neither of them were on the field for even 50% of the plays last week, which could be a hair misleading as they blew out whatever slapdick school they played. But what concerns me more is Giddens only got 16 touches and Ward only got 11, right? Maybe you think this game's a hair more competitive, so they get up to 20. If Giddens gets up to 20 touches, I think that he is a guy that you could consider for your cash lineup. but I never love to play guys in my cash lineup that I know that are basically in true 50-50s. And this Giddens Ward is probably close to a 50-50. At best, it's a 55-45. So just be aware of that. When you're playing Giddens, you're almost touchdown or rushing yard dependent, right? Like you really need efficiency out of him, and I never love that for my cash lineups. As far as KSU receivers, good luck with that, Bob. All right, this one, Utah Baylor has so much going on. First of all, Baylor, what the hell? I did not know Baylor would be so terrible this year, right? And Richard Reese, everybody's favorite from last year, has just gotten completely passed by Dominic Richardson. You can see Richardson had 19 touches last week and played 2/3 of all the plays. So he truly is a bell cow running back at 4,300, right? If Baylor can get their shit figured out, Dominic Richardson is a great play on this slate. But based on how they played last week and the fact that Shapen, their quarterback, is still out, it's really hard to trust anybody from Baylor right now, right? It would not surprise us to see Utah, who is notoriously a very good defense, just go in there and absolutely boat race Baylor. Utah's side is even messier. Cam Rising is almost certainly going to be out. If he does play, it's going to be in a limited fashion, so I wouldn't be playing him. I would not be playing any Utah quarterbacks, but where it gets even nastier is the running back situation. DeQuinton Jackson is likely to be out. He is probably not going to play. He is already banged up, and so you would think that would make Micah Bernard the big beneficiary, but I have heard from more than one source that there are rumors going around that he might be out for the year. So if Jackson and Bernard is out, who the hell does that leave? So best as I can guess, it's going to be Jalen Glover as the third running back, and he is at 4,200 in a run-first offense in a script that will be beneficial to them. If I get word that Bernard and Jackson are out, I think Glover might be the safest cash play on this slate because who the hell else do they have to run the ball? That would be my question. We'll have to be watching it. If you're not one of those people that wants to sweat news Saturday or has somebody that can shoot you an announcement whenever this news breaks, well, then you probably shouldn't be playing cash, bro Cephas. All right, everybody's favorite chalky game, Colorado, Nebraska. This game just shapes up like letdown city for Colorado. To me, I will be betting the shit out of Nebraska. Let's start with Nebraska. Jeff Sims was wildly inefficient last week, but he is so damn elusive with the running in the running game, and they have such a big total at 7,200. It is really hard to not consider him for GPPs or your cash lineup. As you can see, he played the entire game. He had 14 rushes, and he has monster projections this week. From there, they have a true running back by committee at Nebraska, and I wouldn't want to play any of their running backs anyways. If you're trying to stack one wide receiver with Jeff Sims, I would never stack two because he's not the kind of guy that's going to pass the ball enough to get two wide receivers there. I think you could go with Kemp, Bullock, or Washington. Trying to guess which one it's going to be, more power to you. But just like last year, who did we love last year? We loved Hooker, and we'd play him by himself because you know us. We love a naked Hooker. Am I right? I wouldn't be afraid to run a naked Sims in my GPP or my cash lineup because he's a guy that could get to 30 points and literally take nobody else with him there. You know what I'm saying? Colorado, on the other hand, I got to tell you, I was pretty impressed with Sanders. He was a much better quarterback than I thought. But let me go ahead and give you a couple warnings. First of all, I don't know that he can be that efficient again. Second of all, he offers no rushing upside, right? He had negative 3 points rushing last week because he took so many sacks. So he doesn't offer that floor that he gets. You would think Deion Sanders' son could run and would get some rushing yards, but he doesn't. Furthermore, the running backs, I think Dylan Edwards is fool's gold. 5 receptions for 3 touchdowns last week, almost breaking the slate. He's a silly play. He's just no way he's going to be that efficient. He didn't run that many plays. As you can see, he was only on the field less than 40% of the time. If you want to chase that, you go right on ahead at 6,500. But to me, where it gets really interesting are these wide receivers for Colorado. You basically had 3 receivers that were on the field for the entire game. Of course, we all know Travis Hunter, the big 5-star who played both ways, a truly incredible player. But from there, we had Weaver and Horn, who are both, I believe, USF transfers, and they were both out there the whole damn game, and they were both getting a lot of routes. Here's what I'll say. I think any one of these guys could break the slate this week. If you think this game shoots out, I think you're certainly going to want to have one of these guys. If you're playing Sanders, I think you probably want to stack him with 2 of these guys, right? Because if he goes off as a pocket passing quarterback, you will almost certainly have to get 2 of these guys there. But on the flip side of that, I think people are really overreacting to how Colorado played the first week. I think we're going to find out that TCU fucking blows donkey dick and that Colorado might have snuck one over on a team that's pretty marginal. Furthermore, all those wide receivers, they ain't cheap, Bob. They're all over $7,000. That is, to me, I just feel like there's other places where I could go play an alpha from another team and get it in. I will let everybody go play the donkey chalk at Colorado. I think I can go elsewhere. Probably our biggest blowout potential right here, or one of the 2 biggest blowout potentials, is EKU and Kentucky. You can see EKU, I mean, basically they have a 13-point total, so I guess you got to consider some of their guys, but it's just not great, Bob. It's not great. Kentucky, on the other hand, if Kentucky can get pushed, right? Say EKU somehow squeaks out 21, 24 points, and Kentucky is playing this game into the fourth quarter, they have one of the best, most focused offenses in the country, right? Like usage focused. You've got Devin Leary, who is a very, very solid quarterback. Ray Davis, who the projections, I literally had to go tell my projections, you calm the hell down, because they were like, Ray Davis is going to score 87 points this week. I'm like, let's pump the brakes on Ray Day, okay? So Ray Davis is an awesome play, but you got to ask yourself this: do I want to play Ray Davis when I think he's only going to get 3 quarters? Okay, and the answer could be he'll get 30 points in 3 quarters. So yes, I'll still play him. But $7,700 isn't cheap, and when I'm paying $7,700, I want my guy to get 4 quarters of play. From there at wide receiver, they have 3 guys that are basically getting all the usage. You have Dane Key, you have Barian Brown, and you have Tavion Robinson. Once again, all these guys are going to be involved in the game. This is an efficient offense. They are going to score points, and I bet one of these guys, if not 2 of these guys, goes for 20 points. However, ask yourself this: do they have the ability to win you a GPP if they're only playing 2.5 quarters or 3 quarters, right? If they miss a whole quarter of the game, or Kentucky's just running the ball with their third string running back in the fourth quarter, do these guys have any chance to get you the points you need to win a GPP? If you think that EKU is going to be competitive, then I think you play the shit out of Kentucky guys. If you don't, I think that you still maybe consider Kentucky guys, but you just don't go all in on them, right? By the way, drop likes. If we get to 100 likes over here, we will be doing 2 drawings. I forgot to say that. Every 50 likes. Okay, that's how we determine the likes. My bad. I should have said that. Just looking over here to the side. Nice solid audience tonight for a Friday night. Okay, this one, I think that this game is going to be a sneaky shootout game also. I love this A&M Miami game. These are 2 teams that are trying to get back. I don't think either of them are really great at defense yet, so I think that this game could be sneaky high scoring. A&M, now that they have Bobby Petrino as their offensive coordinator, seems to actually have a functioning offense. Connor Wegman is good. At GPPs, if you're not considering Connor Wegman, I don't think you're really playing the game. The running back situation is a shit show. Hardly anybody is out there. It says Ruben Owens was on the field for 58% of the plays, but he only got like 6 carries or 7 carries. You can see it right there. Their true alpha is Evan Stewart at the wide receiver. I think that he projects great in this game, but I think you also want to be open to Noah Thomas and Anais Smith. I think those are the other 2 that are likely that you could stack with Wegman. For Miami, Van Dyke Van sucked last week, okay? Can't confirm. Their running back situation, Paris Jr. is certainly the most talented of the backs, but I guess they're just dedicated to the 4 running back rotation. You can see right there, none of them played even 30% of the snaps last week, making that backfield almost unplayable in GPPs or in cash. The wide receiver situation is very interesting, though. Our boy Restrepo was like 7,600 last week, and then they just completely nerfed him down to 4,100. Just the old $3,000 decrease. Colby Young only went up 500, and he had a monster first quarter before, tweaking his vagina. So I think both of those guys, if you think this game shoots out, I think you're going to want to get access to those Miami receivers. I think you're going to want to get access to Wegman. I think you're going to want to get access to Stewart. I'm just telling you, if this game's 35-31, it would not shock me. Matter of fact, look at the total. The total on this game is, 51 with a 4-point total. You never know. Speaking of not a shootout, Iowa State and Iowa. Is there ever a game that you've just been so sure was going to be 16-10 in your life? It's this one, right? These teams are both notoriously slow. They play defense, and they take pride in never scoring more than 21 points on each other, okay? Iowa, what do you want me to say? Caleb Johnson seems like if he's going to get 19 touches, I think you got to consider him at 5,800 in a script where he will likely be ahead. I think he's very playable. If you're going to play a pass catcher, I think Luke Lachey is going to be the play. He was on the field 81% of the plays. ISU, they're just a train wreck. I don't know what to tell you about who to play for them. I would say, the only thing I would be playing from ISU is a parlay. You get it? Because they got suspended. All right, moving on. The best game on the slate, in my opinion, and it's not even close, is Mississippi-Tulane. I don't think I will be the only one to realize this. The total is huge, it is competitive, and Tulane ain't no bitches. They are going to come to play, and when you have Mississippi in an offensive game where they're going to be pushed, that makes them very appealing, not only for cash, but for GPPs. But please be careful and realize Jackson Dart is the most expensive guy on this slate, and there is a chance that Spencer Sanders, the Oklahoma State transfer, will be stealing some of those targets from him. Or not those targets, those plays from him. They might have some goal line packages. They might have some fourth down packages. Spencer Sanders will get in this game, I guarantee it. Which to me, if I'm paying $9,700 for a quarterback, I want every freaking play from him, okay? So to me, that is a huge negative. Our boy Quinshon Judkins at running back is an absolute monster. He only got 22 points last week, but he legit only played the first half. He is in a smash spot here. If there's a guy I'm spending up for, it would probably be Judkins. I don't care if it's cash. I don't care if it's GPP. I don't care if you're just playing for fun. You play Judkins. He is in a great spot. My boy Trey Harris, you're welcome for Trey Harris last week. Everybody's out. Someone's got to catch the ball, but now he's all the way up to 7,800. Is there going to be a little bit of break the slate lag? Perhaps. I think the trickier play here is this Jordan Watkins guy. He had a very nice game. 6 targets, got a touchdown called back, was very involved in the game, and to me was clearly their number 2 receiver. You can see he was on the field more than Harris was, right? So it was a blowout too, so you got to factor that in. But I think Watkins is going to be very involved. I don't love him at cash, but man, I love that guy in some GPPs. For Tulane, then, the good thing I can tell you about them is it's very clear who their usage is going to go through. They have a running back by committee. No more Tajay Spears. Okay, he's backing up Derrick Henry now. Now they have Michael Pratt, the returning quarterback, who is very, very good. I think he's cash viable. He is a hair overpriced for my taste, but he does have like 35-point upside, right? And that's what you're going to probably need from your quarterbacks to win a GPP. The other good thing I can tell you about him is if he throws the ball, he basically has 3 receivers he throws it to. He throws it to Key, Jackson, and Brazil. Okay? Brazil. And those are the 3 guys. So if you're going to play Pratt, I think you could get away with just going one guy with him, a little skinny stack. But if you really want to go all in on it, you run 2 of them and maybe run it back with Judkins, Watkins, or Harris. That is a great start to a GPP team. UTEP Northwestern, let me just go ahead and save you some time. Don't fucking play it, Bob. There you go. This is another one of those games. It's just going to be a slow, sloggy game, and no one is going to get enough usage to get there. If I'm going to play somebody, I might play Tyron Smith, but at 7,600 in a slow game, that bothers me. But, man, he is definitely the number 1 wide receiver for UTEP. If his price tag was 6,200, I'd be really interested. But, you know, I just never excited to pay 7,600 for a wide receiver for a team that has a 20-point total. He might have a great game, but it's also not as likely as somebody, you know, I'll just go pay 7,100 and play Evan Stewart, whose team has a bigger total and it's going to be in a better game. Northwestern, I don't know. What do you want me to say? They're a bunch of puss boys. Don't play them. I mean, Cam Johnson, they have 2 receivers to get all the targets, Cam Johnson and A.J. Henning, but by and large, you just don't need to get cute playing these fuckers. That's the best advice I could give you. I will say Cam Porter might only got 6 rushes last week, but 5 targets ain't bad. It ain't bad, okay? 2 more games to go. We have UNLV, Michigan. UNLV, don't play them. And I think for Michigan, you got to worry about the blowout narrative. They are huge favorites in this game. It's very likely. There's no chance their guys are playing the last quarter and a half. I think Corum and Edwards are definitely the ones to consider here, along with Roman Wilson and Cornelius Johnson. You just hope that you find the right one. Last week it was Wilson. This week, I think Donovan Edwards is going to be pretty popular. He got quite a bit of action last week. Corum might get rested early, and then they let Edwards go ham in the second half. I just never love to play a backup running back in my cash lineup, but if I were ever going to do it, it would be Donovan Edwards because that guy is a beast. And lastly, Marshall ECU. First of all, the most egregious mispricing on the entire slate is in this game. Rasheen Ali, the running back, had 18 carries last week, 1 target, and played 90% of the plays as a running back. He never leaves the field. He's 4,800, and he's playing for a team that has a 23-point team total and is favored. That is everything you need. That is the definition. He is going to be a mega donkey chalk. I think in cash, you don't worry about that. I think in GPPs, you do need to be aware that, that you could block out probably something like 70% of the field if that guy gets 4 points. And lastly, for ECU, I don't know. What do you want me to say? ECU, they're not great, Bob. This ain't ECU from last year. They lost a lot of talent. They got boat raced in their first one. If you want to be sneaky, I guess you could play them. I just think there's better places to get your money in here, right? There you go. That is the breakdown. Let's get to the questions and the drawing. But before we do, go check out my site, Degen75.com, the fastest growing community in all of DFS. That I can assure you. We have PGA, we have NFL, and of course we have college football. We have all kinds of winners. You'll never see me celebrating my wins. It's about all these motherfuckers. Look at all those first places just from week 1 of college football. Absolutely insane. And yes, that blank thing that I keep showing you called the Rosetta Stone, I do a Rosetta Stone with color on it for everybody tomorrow. Oh, yeah. And I do one for the late night slate. Oh, yeah, the late night slate. And oh, you're one of those sickos that plays FanDuel? I got that too. I got a stone for every slate, no matter what you want to play, so you can get all the pertinent, relevant information to make good, informed player pools and not have your picks and plays spoon-fed to you like a dipshit, okay? If you're thinking to yourself, man, I can't sign up for no website, all right, I'll make you a deal. Go sign up for my newsletter. It's in the description of this video. I'll give you a free week on the website. You simply reach out to the editor on Twitter, at the Degen editor on Twitter, and he will get you hooked up on the website, all access for a free week. Why do we do it? Because I know once you're there for a week, you'll be like, oh shit, this is way cooler than I thought. I'm just going to go sign up now. So there you go. Sign up for my newsletter. Try it out for a week. You won't regret it. College football, NFL, shit, even PGA is going to be there. All right, let's get to the drawing editor from the thing. Let's go ahead and draw one. Let's draw two right now. We'll do one for 50, and then every 25 after that, we'll do another one. So let's see if we can get to 100 likes tonight, okay? So our first drawing to build a ticket with me tonight, we will put it in the big $15 tomorrow. Big Driggs in the house. There it is. Big Driggs is one. Give me another one, editor. And if we get to 100 likes, we will do another one. Thomas H. Doesn't ring as well as Big Driggs, okay? And guys, if we get to 100 likes, which I think is very reasonable with 92 people in here right now, we will do another one. So I will answer these questions. If we get to 100 likes by then, I will do one more drawing. Brought to you by Not a Pour. Not a Pour. You want to know who else is not a pour? Nick is not a pour. Nick says, not a pour. There he goes. Has a nice ring to it. The high-owned guy you'll be fading, and one guy you'll definitely, and you definitely not fading, and one guy you definitely not playing. So a high-owned guy that I probably wouldn't play in GPPs. I think I'm going to fade those. I think it's just going to be those Colorado receivers, right? I think that's where I want to fade. That's just I just feel like I don't know. I just can't believe they're all going to get that many targets again. So that's who I'm fading. That would be the one guys I'm not fading. I think in GPPs there's a real path to fading Ali. Everybody's going to be playing that guy. He's almost like a free square. And let me just go ahead and tell you, any cheap running back that seems too good is never a free square, Bob. Okay, he turns his ankle in the first quarter. Legit 70% of all lineups are dead. And I just ask you this: are you trying to min cash in the GPPs, or are you trying to win the fucking GPPs? And that should answer your question right there. All right, let's see. Moving on. Hey, guys, thank you all for being here. Let's get it up to 100 likes. Answering these questions. Glad all of you could make it here on a Friday night. Not a great night. I know there's high school football, and I hear some people have families, you freaking weirdos. Can Purdue's QBs get there for cash? Absolutely. I think Hudson Card is probably one of the better cash plays on the slate because at $6,000 with as much as he's going to throw the ball in a competitive environment, I just really like that. I mean, I don't love trusting a quarterback that used to play at Texas because that by definition makes him a loser, but I can tell you this. I just feel like he will get enough passes. Unless Maccabee somehow steals this whole game and they run the shit out of the ball, that's the only way I could see it. How many pieces from Tulane's offense are too many for GPPs? My narrative is to play. I would have it max 3. I would have the quarterback and 2 wide receivers with him. I'm not interested in any of their running backs. So how many people are going to be on the Colorado stacks tomorrow? I can't imagine that it's not. It has to be the most popular stack. After what they did last week, the team total they have, all the hype they're getting. If you don't want to know a little sad thing that's very true, people love to put dudes in their lineups that they're going to be watching the game, right? No one's just playing the best plays. They're playing, hey, I'm going to be watching this game. And everybody's been talking about Colorado, Nebraska this week. So everybody's going to be watching that game now. It's going to be off the charts on ratings. So all those guys in that game, like Sims and Sanders and Weaver and Hunter, are just going to all be obnoxiously overowned. So I'm happy fading all of them in GPPs. How do you like Estimate? Got over 15. I love over 15.5 fantasy points. Absolutely love that. I think he's one of the better plays. I don't think we've really got to see a full workload from him, but he's a very talented back, and it seems like he has that backfield to himself. 20 max. How many QBs should I have? I would go with 4, and I would make sure that I have a rule that I have my quarterback is always obviously a quarterback, but also my superflex is always a quarterback. That's how I would do it, right? Is Cam Rising playable? Not at all. If he plays, I think they've already said he'll be limited. He's already expensive, and you can't afford to just play a guy that might only be on the field half the game. Always play a wide receiver paired with that quarterback, and the quarterback's no. Sometimes I'll play a naked wide receiver. Like last week, if you're going to play a pocket passer like Penix or Sanders or somebody like that, I think you always need to have one wide receiver stacked with them. But a lot of these college running backs, they're not like NFL running backs, and they can get it almost all done with their legs. Perfect example would be our boy Sims from Nebraska. If he goes out and has 30 points tomorrow, he could legit have 30 points and not have a single soul get there with him. Okay, so if you know that, well, then you can just play him naked, right? Just like a naked hooker last year. Do you even concern yourself with product ownership for college football cash? I don't. I've never once looked at my ownership for my cash lineup. Don't give a shit, Bob. What college football team would you compare your favorite golfer to? Rory. Oh, that's easy. University of Texas. Always fucking losing and perpetually overrated. You liking my Wolfpack versus Notre Dame tomorrow at noon? I think the Wolfpack's going to be competitive. If they win that game, it would not shock me at all. Because that game's going to be competitive, that's kind of why I like some of the Notre Dame pieces, right? That's why I'm warm to Hartman. That's why I'm warm to Estimate, because I think that they're actually going to have to play 4 quarters. Matthew Adcock, should you always play in a super flex that should be stacked? No, you always want to play a quarterback in the super flex, assuming it's a full slate, but you don't always have to stack a receiver with them. I already said that. Let's see. Hartman looking to compete for the best point per dollar at quarterback. I mean, yeah. He hasn't got look. The projections don't love him, but it's largely just because he hasn't got a full game in. If he gets a full game in, and this game's something like 35-31, I bet Hartman's in a GPP winning lineup. I am warm to Hartman at GPPs, especially with how low. I think I have him owned at like legit like 2% or something silly like that. Are there any quirky cash game strategies when it comes to college football that are different than cash games in other sports? I mean, I don't know. I don't really play a ton of cash outside of college football. In college football, it's just play the best plays and let the idiots make mistakes. That's basically the game. And the great news is there's no shortage of idiots out there. Cash lineup, do you want a single stack at quarterback and superflex? Yeah, sometimes I'll stack them, but I never go out of my way, right? So let's just do an example, right? Let's say I'm going to put Sam Hartman in my cash lineup. That doesn't mean that I have to get Thomas in there, right? I will play Hartman naked, right? No matter who the quarterback is, right? I want to play Hudson Card. Well, that doesn't mean I have to play Burks, right? I'm not opposed to it, but I'm also never going to force it. And another thing I'm going to do, I'm never going to double stack my cash quarterback, ever. Single entries on Saturday, better than Sunday. Single entries on Saturday, better than Sunday. No, I mean, the ones Sunday are pretty epic too, man. And they're bigger, which is what I can say. Can you have a punt and cash? Well, as long as they're high upside, David, I guess you can get there. You know, sometimes I'll put a $3,000 guy in my lineup that I think might be able to squeeze me out 8 to 10 points just because he makes everything else in the lineup work. I don't love it, but you know, if it's just that one spot and you feel confident, especially if it's a wide receiver where you know he's probably going to get you 5 targets, that can usually get you there. Is Kansas going to make the playoff? Goodness, they look athletic. I mean, they're better than people realize. They are, especially now they got their quarterback back. They don't have old Beanpole back there. Do you ever look at DK price ranges at the position in college football to figure out how much people will build? Do you ever look at DK price ranges at each position in college football to figure out how people will build? Sure. I mean, like, the number one thing that will indicate how much somebody's going to be owned is how many points do they project for versus their ownership, right? So you got to look at that. I saw Saberson wants like $300 a month. That no comment, but my comment is wow. Will people go over the top on Colorado after one game? They will, Ben. I'm very happy to fade it too. What percentage of cash versus GPP do you play? About 75-25. And tomorrow, I'm playing so much cash, I might not even play GPPs. What I'm thinking is I'm probably going to play GPPs on the later slate because I really like those games on the DK late slate. I think there's some really enticing GPP plays over there. Quarterbacks are pricey. Running back super flex this week. Yeah, I would almost guarantee you my cash lineup will contain a running back in the super flex. There's just some really good running back options this week, so I'm going to have a running back in my in my flex. No. You need a quarterback in the super flex. There's plenty of good options. In your regular flex, you want a running back. Sorry, misread that. Avoid running backs in Michigan with blowout likely. Look, I mean, yes, but there is a chance that they could blow them out and Corum or Edwards could still get 35. That is a thing. So to completely discount them is a thing. Musket got hurt on the front line last week. We've written home to his mother. Oh shit, I didn't know that. So Musket's out. Too bad the backup wasn't Constitution or something like that. Or Rifle. I don't know. 3 max GPP with less than 3,000 entries. How many different QBs in player pool? Yeah, 3 max. Yeah, I would say 3. Probably just rotate them between the 3 lineups. What should you do with your favorite game stack for single entries? If you're playing a single entry and you love a game, attack that game. Play both quarterbacks and play at least one pass catcher from each of them. And if one of them's a pocket passer, play 2 pass catchers. Go 5 of your 8 guys from one game. Then just go get some good one-off pieces from other games. Hope your game shoots out and your one-off pieces hit. What's your Kentucky exposure, big guy? I haven't built look, I'm not probably going to play any Kentucky in my cash lineup, but if I build GPPs, they'll almost always start with Kentucky because I think so many guys on that team have mega upside, especially if Eastern Kentucky can score a couple donkey dick luck touchdowns, all right? Sorry, I forgot the question. I'm Ron Burgundy. Joining late after my loop. Couldn't see the Rosetta Stone. Do you have a FanDuel projections on there now? Oh, we do. I already talked about it, Caddy. Got one for DraftKings early, DraftKings late, and FanDuel main. You going to be mashing FanDuel with OU on the slate? Man, no. Like, all the OU guys are mispriced over on FanDuel. I wanted to play Gabriel over there, but, like, why would I play Gabriel when I could just go play Plumlee for cheaper? Like, it's silly. FanDuel pricing's goofy. Which OU receiver we liking? I'm going to stick with Andrel Anthony. If I get word that Drake Stoops is out, I like Gavin Freeman, right? Give me the other scrappy white kid. Lunch Pail kid. Good route runner. Real gym rat. Let's see. Just watching Daniels run for his life here, just slinging it around. What a fucking stud muffin he is. God, he's so good. Okay, cool guy Bobby. In a 20 max, is it better to take a stand on cheaper players and rotate higher priced guys? Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, I don't hate that, but the problem is if you start rotating higher price guys, you're probably going to be under leveraged on all them. Because let's face it, what do people do? They always start with the high price guys, so they just naturally have higher ownership. So if you're gonna do that, just know you're gonna be underweight on all of those higher price guys, and that can be a little scary. Because if those guys go off, you're basically going to be losing because of that, because you're underweight on all of them. Hey, guy in the back, did you smash the like button? Guy in the back, did you hit the like button? We're trying to get to 100 over here. 85 likes. We could get to 100. Are you better at waiting to dump money into GPPs until we have more data closer to midseason? Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't know why I'm not just lining up to play GPPs, Rich. I think it's more the slate more than anything. This slate tomorrow, I just can't find like 5 quarterbacks I want to rotate into my 100 lineups, right? So if I who do I want to play? You know, I guess maybe some Hartman and I don't know. I'm sure by tonight, after I get some time to myself, the juices will start flowing. I'll probably get in there. But by and large, it's just kind of the slate. Like the slate tomorrow night, I'm all about playing, and I'll probably get in there and play some GPPs tomorrow night just because I like the slate so much. Let's see. What do we got here? What is worse? What is the worst defense on the slate? I mean, probably Eastern Kentucky. They just don't got the players. Would you be open to playing 3 players from one team on a 13-game slate? In a GPP, I would, not in a cash lineup. Let's see. Wow, a lot of questions. A lot of questions, Bobathan. A lot of questions. Yeah, we have FanDuel, Javon. It's up there. Look, I got it right here. You want to see it? Boom! FanDuel Stone. Wah, 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 wah. Yeah, the Stone's the best thing out there. Let me just go ahead and tell you the ending of this story. It's the best fucking tool out there, dude. All right, moving on. Hitting the like. Oh, up to 87. Blink 187, I believe, was the band name. Let's see. Sean says, are defensive grades based on last year? It's a mixture, right, Sean? So far this year, we don't have a ton of data. So it's right now we're mixing it 80% from last year, 20% from this year, right? But as they get more and more games, we will start adjusting that to reflect this year. Great question, Sean. Never won before. How do I reach out on Twitter? Thomas, let's go. You just reach out. You can just shoot me a DM. I'm at the Degenerate75, right? Or if you're on the Discord, just reach out to me over there. I'm much more accessible on the Discord, but I will respond to you on Twitter. It just may take a little bit longer. And GPPs for a team that's going to get blown out, how much do you pay for a run back wide receiver? Not a lot. I got to tell you, in those blowouts, a lot of times I won't even do a run back. I'll just try to hope my guys are efficient and they get all the points for the blowout. Leary for cash, I can't do it. Complex kid, he's just a little too priced for a guy that's probably not going to get 4 quarters, right? OU running or passing game, I think it's going to be a nice mixture, but just based on how they ran the ball last week, I would bet that about 70% of their yards are going to come from pass. Irving, Bo Nix, weak Texas Tech defense. Oh, look at this guy. He's wanting to jump straight to the other slate. Yeah, I think that if we get word that Winnington's out, I think Irving is a smash play. Smash play. Who would you say is the most mispriced wide receiver you can play in cash and GPPs? Probably Burks from Purdue. I think he's got a pretty safe floor there. He seems a little underpriced. Which Texas Tech receiver? Give me Bradley. You know what? Just come over to the site. We're not talking about that slate, dude. Cattier, thanks for adding FanDuel. No DK in Oregon yet. Oh, that's so lame. You know what? Just drive to the border. Hopefully you live in Portland. It's, that's not too far from the Washington border. Although that sorry piece of shit state Washington probably doesn't have it either. Favorite late game tomorrow? Ooh, let me go look at that. Late game? Let's see. Oregon, Texas Tech for sure. All right, guys, do not forget, go check out my site, degen75.com. Go check out the solver. Get signed up for my projections using my little landing page. And don't forget, if you're a poor and you don't want to pay for my website, simply sign up for the newsletter. Let the editor know on Twitter, and he will get you a free week on the website. All of my winners reach out to me. We did not quite get to 100 likes. I appreciate you guys being here. Be here tomorrow night, 7 o'clock for the NFL show. Be here next Friday night for this show. And yes, be here for Golf Wednesday. The big guy goes hard. It's been real, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the show. I hope you kick ass tomorrow. Let me know if you do. I hope you enjoy this outro.